Few places are as well guarded and impenetrable to outsiders as North Korea. The Democratic People's Republic keeps a pretty tight seal on their country, ensuring that not a whole lot gets in or out. As such, there can be a whole lot going on over there that we're not privy to. That includes paranormal and anomalous activity. When it comes to potentially dangerous, mysterious stuff, we want to know what's going on. So today, I'll try to bring some of the SCPs found in and around North Korea to light. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be counting down the top 5 scary SCPs from North Korea. Granted, some of these didn't originate in North Korea, but they've been seen in and around the country, so we'll give them a pass. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more border-bound beasts. Perfect, let's begin. Kicking us off at number 5, we've got SCP-4071. Memories. Where would we be without them? Probably nowhere, because we'd be unable to function properly. You can't contextualize the world around you without some sort of recollections, so when they start to disappear, things can get pretty scary. 4071 is a phenomenon in which events simultaneously disappear from the memories of every human being everywhere. So we all collectively forget things. Not great for our collective survival odds. Apparently, after this takes effect, one can reacquire memories by reading documentation, but folks usually consider any forgotten stuff to be untrustworthy. Which makes sense. Why would nobody remember something happening unless it didn't actually happen? Events that are forgotten are known as 4071-1, and at first seem just to correspond with unsavory political situations. Soon enough though, instances of 4071-1 began to pop up at random. The reasons for this became clear upon the discovery of 4071-2, the anti-recall system. This computer was built by an unknown organization and given to the Mana charitable organization. These do-gooders decided they would remove all human memory of large-scale conflict to get rid of war, corruption, and the like. Anytime an event is inputted into the program, it will be instantly and simultaneously removed from the memories of all human beings. And at first, it worked pretty well. But soon enough, the computer started to remove memories at random, becoming unstable and unpredictable. What started as forgetting wars and disputes became forgetting that Xbox existed, or forgetting that certain skyscrapers were ever built. At the peak of its malfunction, it was estimated that all human memories would be forgotten in about 30 years. Faster if memories vital to human survival were removed. So the Foundation stepped in with a counter meme and things got largely back to normal. So what does this have to do with North Korea, you may ask? Well, the Mana charitable organization removed the memories of events preceding and following the division of Korea. The countries merged into one and elected a new government. Ex-North Koreans were introduced to life outside of their country with culture untainted by propaganda. It was mostly positive, save for some resentment about wealth disparity. However, the Foundation did indeed hit the hard reset button, and even positive forgetfulness was reinstated. Oh well. Coming in at number 4, we've got SCP-047. This old, rusty, breached gas cylinder has some dangerous effects on the world around it. When it's exposed to open air, the material of the cylinder evaporates slowly, producing a mutagenic gas. This gas has a profound effect on the microorganisms that live on and around human beings. When exposed to the gas, bacteria tend to have enhanced survivability, antibiotic resistance, reproduction rate, and transmission rate. So essentially, 047 creates a very dangerous bacteria wherever it's present, especially when humans are around. Some mutated prokaryotes have been found to cause skin to become toxic, inflame the mouth and esophagus to the point of suffocation, cause open sores to develop, and cause sepsis on the body, and more. Not great. Wherever these tiny creatures are found, the Foundation shuts it down as best they can. Quarantine, incineration, whatever it takes. Outbreaks have been documented in many countries and have largely been dealt with rather quickly. They've been contained in places like Siberia, northern Canada, South Australia, Brazil, Iraq, and Sweden. Even when it's not totally contained, at least people can monitor the area for its spread, but this is not the case in North Korea. In fact, the effects of the outbreak aren't even recorded because local services have been uncooperative. Therefore, the current status of 047 outbreak in North Korea is unknown and really could be anything and anywhere. Hopefully it doesn't spread too far. Coming in at number 3, we've got SCP-4327. A monster in the more traditional sense, 4327 is essentially a gigantic red rock crab, 25 meters tall and 25 meters wide. Somehow violating the square cube law, it's capable of supporting its own weight. It has a very slow metabolism and only requires nutrition once every 2 years. 4327 tends to eat fish and humpback whales and usually remains below the ocean's surface at a depth of more than 120 meters. However, it will randomly move onto land for several hours at a time. This was its undoing, but we'll get there. Our huge Krabby Patty was first sighted on waters outside of Korea by the captain of a Russian battleship. He journaled about seeing it, but also being unable to share the discovery with anybody else before it disappeared. Soon enough, he sighted it taking down a whale and warned other vessels of its presence. Years later, 4327 was rediscovered by the Imperial Japanese Anomalous Matters Extermination Agency. They attempted to terminate it, but due to large amounts of resources being used in China during the Second Sino-Japanese War, they were unsuccessful. Finally, it was discovered by the Turkish Brigade during the Korean War. As infantry battalions moved towards Seoul, the crab monster surfaced and was moving around on a beach. The soldiers spotted it and decided that they could not let it live. They fired shell after shell at the crustaceous creature until it couldn't take any more. After succumbing to the blasts, the soldiers approached the corpse, and it's unknown what happened after that. Sliding in at number 2, we've got SCP-1427. While this SCP didn't originate in the Democratic People's Republic, North Korea is uniquely situated to handle it. Originally found in a monastery in Algeria, it produces a directional electromagnetic pulse every 7 nanoseconds, which is theorized to carry the effects of the device's primary function. Targets are randomly selected from the nearest 20,000 humans with no apparent maximum effective range. People receiving the signal will experience increased suggestibility, severe abulia, and short-term memory loss. It seems that these are all side effects to the primary effect, a substantial reduction in the prefrontal SQ2 signal. Essentially, the thing destroys people's subjective consciousnesses. For whatever reason, people exhibiting moderate authoritarian submissive personality traits appear to be immune to these waves. As such, the Foundation prefers to keep 1427 locked up in a high population density area, subject to a totalitarian government. In this case, that means North Korea has to bear this burden. In the past, 1427 has been kept in Germany, Soviet Russia, and then eventually made its way to where it's situated today. The closed borders limiting the risk of exposing foreigners to the anomalous effects is a bonus too. Now, if the DPRK were to fall, or if the country were to fall into some sort of disarray, it's hard to say what would happen to this artifact. Hopefully the Foundation would find a good place for it, but it could be tough. Seems like China and Indonesia are next in line, but they aren't quite as good a fit. And finally, at number 1, we've got Broken Masquerade. This is more of a series of events than a singular SCP, but I promise you it's worth exploring. Broken Masquerade takes a look at an alternate universe in which anomalies, the Foundation, and all sorts of other SCP stuff is made very public. Something anomalous happens in North Korea, causing it to literally disappear, and the GOC places public blame on the Foundation. While North Korea is technically only spatially displaced and not destroyed, the world still wants answers. Early one morning, a weird weather event appeared over the country and was noticed by a hacker hijacking one of North Korea's weather satellites. It appeared to be a massive swirl of air pressure that dwarfed even the most intense hurricanes and typhoons. It hovered above the country, not moving like a normal weather pattern would. Soon, it was pulling people into the air off the street and buildings started to disappear. All of a sudden, everything vanished, creating a vacuum that crushed everything that didn't evaporate. Now, everything is out in the open. People know about anomalies and the Foundation and all the terrible things they're in. Ethics are being called into question. Foundation employees are subject to a worldwide witch hunt. The UN wants to take over anomalous object management. It's chaotic, but also very interesting. Anomalous people are coming out of the woodwork, X-Men style, and finding other people just like them. Markets buying and selling anomalous objects are popping up left and right. The world order is changing, so which side would you take? Do you side with the Foundation, or the GOC, or maybe the UN? What happened really over North Korea? There's only one way to find out. Dive into the Broken Masquerade hub. And there you have it. 5 SCPs that only North Korea could handle, or create, or just, host. So what do you think of the list? Are there any other SCPs that hail from the North? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more sweltering ones from the top 5 scary evil statues caught moving. Iridon says, I'm afraid of statues. They always look stoned. What do you want? A rim shot? Renato Corvaro says, I live in Guelph, Ontario. We have a bear statue that always ends up being dressed in different clothes. Spooky stuff. But is that evil, or is it just university kids doing university kid stuff? Actually, what's the difference? Mystical Wolf _ Sun YT says, how come every time I'm looking for a scary vid, a new post is on the channel? Love ya. Because we're always watching. Always. You should turn off the lights when you're not in the room. Eric McIntyre says, my kitty is sleeping under my blankets on my bed. That is all. Eric, that's the best gosh darn news I've heard all week. Thanks for sharing. Luke Reeves says, I need creepy statues in my backyard. There's a whole lot of pine trees and I've toiled cleaning up the area to walk around, but all worth it for my own personal haunted forest. You could charge admission and make it pretty petty. Just make sure something actually spooky like a murder happens before you let anybody in. For authenticity. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I head off to take some artsy photos on a particularly busy set of train tracks, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more secret SCPs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. The object appears to be a featureless bronze stele originally found in a Cistercian? Let's just say monastery. And as such, the Foundation prefers to keep 1427 locked up in high population density areas subject to a It hovered above the country, not moving like a normal weather pattern would. Excuse me. And Luke Reeves says, I need creepy statues in my backyard. And Luke Reeves says, I need creepy statues in my backyard. There's a lot of pine trees and I have toiled